The sunlight was soft that morning. The restaurant was fancy. The table was full of pretty plates and tiny forks I didn't know how to use. Everyone was laughing, smiling, drinking orange juice in long glasses. And then she looked at me. She smiled like nothing was wrong, like she was being sweet. Then she said it. "We're just trying to be nice, including you. Don't think you matter." I didn't cry. I didn't flinch. I just nodded slowly and picked up my glass of water like her words were normal. But something inside me broke, and something else came alive. That was the moment I knew. They had no idea who they were messing with. "Hi, my name is Kayla Monroe. I'm 26 years old, and that woman, she's my mom. Well, my adoptive mom. I came into her world when I was just 6 years old, a scared little girl with braids, shaking hands, and one backpack. The day I was adopted, I remember holding her hand. I thought, this is it. I have a real mom now. But I was wrong. She never held me the way a mom should. She never tucked me in. She never asked how I was feeling. She called me her little project, like I was something to fix or something to show off to her rich friends. They lived in a big house with shiny stairs and golden sinks, and I thought I was lucky, but I wasn't. I was just a decoration in the Monroe family. Every morning, I'd eat alone at the corner of the kitchen while they sat at the big table together. Every Christmas, I'd get one gift, while my sister Abigail got 10. Every picture on the wall was of her, not me. They didn't say it out loud back then, but I could feel it, like I was a guest, not a daughter, like I was there out of guilt. And still, I tried. I cleaned my room, I got straight A's, I helped Mom carry bags from the car. I even smiled when she introduced me to people like, "This is Kayla, our adopted one. She's quiet." I smiled, even though it made me feel small. Sometimes I would cry in my closet, so no one could hear me. I didn't want to make trouble. I didn't want to be set back. But the truth is, I was never really brought in. Years passed. I grew up in silence. I watched Abigail turn into a golden princess, cheerleader, prom queen, her own car at 16. Every time she posted on Instagram, Mom would comment, "My beautiful girl." She never commented on mine. Sometimes I'd hear them talking about family trips while I was still in the room. And when I asked, "Can I come too?" they'd smile and say, "Oh, we thought you had school stuff. Maybe next time." But next time never came. I stopped asking. I stopped hoping. I started saving. Every birthday, I'd pretend to be happy with socks and old books, while Abigail unwrapped designer bags and gold jewelry. Every night, I'd sit in the dark and whisper to myself, "One day, Kayla, one day they'll see who you really are." And then, last Sunday, they invited me to brunch. That was rare, very rare. "Just family," Mom said in the group chat. "We want to celebrate everyone's success." Success? Abigail had just gotten a job at Mom and Dad's company. I had just gotten promoted at mine. But of course, they only cared about her. Still, I dressed up. I wore the best thing I owned, a soft blue dress with pearl buttons. I curled my hair, did my makeup nice and simple, and wore my lucky shoes. When I arrived at the restaurant, I saw them, sitting at the biggest table, laughing, like they were perfect, like I didn't exist. But I smiled and walked over. "Hi," I said. They looked up, 1 second of silence. then a quick, "Hi, Kayla." I sat down and tried to fit in. I laughed at jokes that weren't funny. I said, "Wow," when Abigail showed off her new bracelet. I told myself, just be polite. Just get through it. But then, Mom leaned in, smiling at her wine glass, and said, "We're just trying to be nice, including you. Don't think you matter." The whole table went quiet for half a second. Then, Abigail laughed, and I knew it wasn't a joke. She meant it. All these years, I had tried to believe maybe, just maybe they cared a little bit. Maybe I had a place. But now I knew. To them, I was a shadow, a stain on their perfect family photo, someone they let sit at the table out of pity. And they thought I would stay small. They thought I would stay silent. But they didn't know the truth. While they were building Abigail's dreams, I was building my own. While they were laughing behind my back, I was watching, listening, learning. Because I never mattered to them. But soon, they would know exactly who I was, and they'd never forget it. After that brunch, I didn't cry. I went home, took off my dress, and stared at myself in the mirror. I didn't see a broken girl anymore. I saw a woman who was done pretending and ready to remember everything. When I was 10, the Monroes went to Italy. Mom came into my room with her suitcase in one hand and sunglasses on her head. "We'll be gone 2 weeks. The maid will bring your dinner." I asked, "Can I come with you?" She blinked at me like I'd said something stupid. "No, Kayla, this is a family vacation." Then she walked out and shut the door. That night I cried under my blanket, not because I wanted to see Italy, but because I wanted to feel like I belonged. When I was 12, I made the honor roll. I ran home with my certificate, excited to show them. Mom was in the kitchen with Abigail, helping her paint her nails. "Look," I said, "I got straight A's." Mom didn't even glance up. "Good. Put it on the fridge." But there were already 5 pictures of Abigail's volleyball team covering the fridge, so I slid my paper behind them. That night, I took it to my room and hid it in my drawer. I didn't want to throw it away. It was the only proof that I was trying. At 15, Abigail had a birthday party with a giant cake and a DJ in the backyard. I stood in the corner the whole time, watching kids dance and eat cotton candy. No one even asked who I was. Someone spilt soda on me and said, "Oh, sorry, didn't know the help was here." I went to the bathroom and cried so hard my face hurt. When I came out, the party was still going, and no one noticed I'd been gone. At 17, Abigail told me the truth. It was during a fight. I can't even remember what started it. Maybe I borrowed her hairbrush, maybe I said something wrong. But she got in my face and shouted, "You know you're only here because Mom felt bad after her miscarriage, right? You were a replacement. That's all you've ever been." I couldn't breathe. She walked away like it was nothing. And I just stood there, shaking. That night, I Googled the word replacement. Then I stared at the ceiling until morning. After that, I stopped calling her sister. When I got into college, I didn't even bother telling them. I applied by myself, filled out every form, got a scholarship. Mom didn't offer to help. Dad said, "That's good, Kayla. Don't forget to pack your own plates. The dorms might not have any." They didn't even drop me off. I took the bus, carrying 2 bags and a heart full of silence. Abigail got a new car and an apartment near her university. I got a shared room and 3 part-time jobs. While they sent her shopping money every month, I worked in the school library, cleaned people's houses on weekends, and even delivered food in the rain. I never asked them for help. I told myself, if I matter to no one, I'll matter to myself. But I watched. I listened. Whenever I came home on holidays, I stayed quiet, but my eyes were open. I heard things I wasn't supposed to hear. Like how Dad's company was behind on taxes, how Mom was helping clean some numbers, how Abigail was given a job she didn't earn just to keep things in the family. They forgot I was even there most of the time, so they spoke freely around me, thinking I was furniture. But I was learning every single secret. Then one day, I got an internship. It was with a rival company. I didn't even realize it at first. But when I found out who they were and how much they hated the Monroes, I kept my mouth shut and I worked hard, harder than ever before. They trusted me. And soon, I got promoted twice. I was in meetings, doing real work, gaining real power. Meanwhile, Abigail was just posing in the office for Instagram stories. But I didn't show off. I stayed small because I knew what I was building. I kept every email, every invoice I could access. I traced payment trails, found files, saved copies. At night, I'd sit on my laptop and piece it all together like a puzzle. The picture was ugly, but clear. They were breaking laws, hiding money, stealing from investors, and laughing about it at brunch tables, while I sat across from them, smiling, sipping water, waiting. I think the moment I truly changed was when Mom texted me, "Hey, family brunch Sunday. Hope you can make it." No emojis, no warmth, just orders. And yet, I smiled because I knew what was coming. I knew what they didn't. They were planning a fake celebration to show off Abigail. They wanted to include me just so I wouldn't feel important. But I had a surprise for them, a very big one. And I wasn't going to raise my voice. I wasn't going to throw a scene. I wasn't even going to cry. I was going to be quiet and win. I didn't grow up in love. I grew up in silence. And silence taught me how to observe, how to wait, and how to plan. They taught me that without even knowing it. The company I worked for was called Wellington Corp., a strong, serious place. No games, no fake smiles. At first, I was just an intern, bringing coffee and printing papers. But I worked harder than anyone else. I stayed late. I took notes. I learned how the system worked. Then one day, during a team meeting, someone said the name Monroe Holdings. I froze. That was my adoptive family's company, the one Mom ran on the surface, but Dad controlled from behind. The same one Abigail had just joined to look important. The team leader said Monroe Holdings was dishonest. They had fake numbers, bad deals, quiet secrets, but no one had proof yet. That word, yet, stuck in my mind. I raised my hand and said, "What if someone could find proof?" Everyone looked at me. My voice shook a little, but I kept going. I used to live with them. I know how they operate. If there's something shady, I can find it. The room went quiet. Then the leader smiled. "Okay, Kayla, let's see what you've got." That was the beginning, the start of my plan. I went home that night, opened my laptop, and started digging. I still had access to some family documents, old emails, password hints, account numbers from years ago. The Monroes never changed anything. They were lazy because they thought no one would dare betray them. I used that. And every day after work, I searched through digital files and records. I didn't steal. I didn't hack. I just paid attention. I found fake invoices. I found 2 sets of books, one real, one for show.
I even found photos of Abigail posing in a new office the company claimed didn't exist. It was all there, right in front of me. At the same time, I started playing my role again, the quiet Kayla, the invisible one. I replied to Mom's group chats with, "Sure, thanks." I liked Abigail's posts on Instagram. I even commented, "You look great." It was hard, so hard, but I needed them to think I was still that soft, sad girl in the background, while I was actually becoming the sharpest person in the room. One day, at work, I showed my manager the documents. He looked through them slowly. His hands were steady, but his eyes widened more and more with each page. He said, "You did this?" I nodded. Every part. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said something I'll never forget. "You just changed everything."
I got promoted again. Not because I was adopted, not because I had a famous last name, but because I earned it. They made me head of internal research. And my first big task? Prepare the case against Monroe Holdings. It was real now. This wasn't about feelings anymore. This was about law, justice, and truth. The next week, I went to brunch. The one where Mom smiled at me and said, "We're just trying to be nice, including you. Don't think you matter." I didn't cry. I didn't flinch. I just nodded, like I always did. But my heart was calm, because I already knew what was coming. After brunch, I left early. While they ordered dessert, I was already sending the last documents to the legal team at Wellington. I uploaded screenshots, email trails, proof of money moved between fake companies, and pictures of Abigail using her charity branch for personal shopping. Every piece was organized in a file labeled Monroe Empire Truth File. Within 48 hours, our CEO called a press meeting. Wellington Corp had collected evidence of fraud and deception at Monroe Holdings. The announcement shook the business world. People didn't believe it at first, but then the photos leaked, the emails, the video of Mom saying, "Just move the numbers around, they'll never know." It was over. Dad tried to deny everything, but the government started an investigation. Mom was called in for questioning. Abigail stopped posting online. Her followers turned on her. Investors pulled out. The stock dropped to almost nothing, and the company that once ignored me was crumbling at my feet. I kept quiet through it all. No interviews, no posts, no speeches, just silence. Let them guess who did it. Let them wonder how it happened. They always thought I was the quiet girl who didn't matter. And now, they didn't even have time to say my name. But I wasn't done yet. There was one more thing I had to do. Something personal. Something final. I waited until the company declared bankruptcy. The mansion they lived in for years, the one with golden sinks and cold rooms, was put on auction. And I bought it. With my own money. No handouts, no help. I stood in that empty hallway and remembered myself at 6 years old. Tiny, hopeful, holding someone's hand who never wanted me. Now, I didn't need to hold anyone's hand. I had power. And I wasn't afraid anymore. The house looked smaller now, not because it had changed, but because I had. I walked through the rooms where I used to tiptoe like a stranger. Now, I walked with my head high. The auction had been easy. No one else wanted the place. It was tied to too much scandal, too many headlines. But I didn't buy it to live in it. I bought it to end it. I walked into the kitchen, the same kitchen where I ate cereal alone while Abigail had pancakes shaped like hearts. The same place where Mom once said, "Don't touch the good plates. They're not for you." Now, I opened every cabinet and threw the plates in the trash. I didn't want their things. I wanted closure. News reports said everything. Monroe Holdings under fire for financial fraud. CEO's wife questioned in tax evasion case. Family empire collapses overnight. But none of them mentioned my name. And I liked it that way. It wasn't about fame. It was about finally being free. I left the house empty. No photos, no memories. Just four walls and silence. But before I locked the door one last time, I left something on the marble counter. A manila envelope. Inside it, a printed copy of my adoption papers and a black pen. On top, I wrote in red ink, "No longer yours, Kayla." Then I walked out and shut the door forever. A week later, I sent Mom a letter. No return address, no fancy writing, just one page. It said, "You once told me at brunch, 'We're just trying to be nice, including you. Don't think you matter.' I believed you for a long time. But now I know the truth. I do matter, just not to you. And that's okay, because now I matter to myself. Kayla Monroe." I don't know if she cried. I don't know if she screamed. I didn't care. I didn't do any of this to hurt her. I did it to heal myself. You see, revenge isn't always about screaming or throwing punches. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is simply becoming everything they said you'd never be. Now I live in a cozy apartment with real sunlight, not fancy, not golden, but warm. I have my own office, my own nameplate, my own voice. Every morning, I wake up without that heavy feeling in my chest because I'm not waiting to be chosen anymore. I chose myself. People ask me if I ever miss them, if I miss Abigail or Mom or even the big house. And I always answered the same thing. You can't miss a home you were never welcomed in. Sometimes I still see them in the news. Mom walking out of a courthouse with sunglasses too big for her face, Dad pretending to be innocent, Abigail deleting comments off her social media, pretending nothing happened. They're still trying to be perfect, still putting on a show. But now the audience is gone. I, on the other hand, don't need an audience. I'm building something real, something strong. And this time, it's mine. No one gets to take credit for it. No one gets to make me feel small ever again. And if you're wondering, yes, I still remember her face across that brunch table. The fake smile, the careful tone, the way she leaned in like she was saying something kind. "We're just trying to be nice, including you. Don't think you matter." Oh, but I do matter. Just not in the way she meant. I matter because I survived. I matter because I created my own path. I matter because I turned pain into power. So now whenever someone says I don't belong, I smile, just like she did. And I whisper to myself, they have no idea who they're messing with.